Hey everyone. If you're like me, you've heard about Raspberry Pis for a number of years, but have been reluctant to dive in, perhaps because you thought you had to learn some low-level programming language to work with these hardware devices. Well, today I'm going to show you how to use the Raspberry Pi Pico and Python along with Visual Studio to help you program your Raspberry Pi. In this case, again, we're using a Raspberry Pi Pico, which is about a between $4 and $5 chip that you can buy on Adafruit or DigiKey for Raspberry Pi programming. Now, what you're going to need to do is load the MicroPython bootloader. This is what allows you to write programs in Python for Raspberry Pis. So you're going to go to MicroPython downloads, and you're going to find your board. In this case, I'm using a Pico. And you can see there's a number of boards supported with the MicroPython bootloader. So we found the Pico here. This is the one I have. And you're going to download this UF2 file. This is the bootloader. And now you're going to take your Raspberry Pi, in this case the Pico. You have a reset button on all of them. Hold that down and plug it into your computer. This puts it into the bootloader mode, allows you to change the bootloader. And you open up a Finder window, and you should see a folder called RPI RP2. This is my Pico. I'm going to open up another Finder window and go to my downloads. And you can see I downloaded the bootloader twice here. So I'm going to take the bootloader file and drag it over to the Pico, and it's going to download. It'll take a few seconds there. Now I'm going to unplug it from my computer and plug it back in, and this forces the bootloader refresh. So now I go over to VS Code, and what we need to download is this Micro Pico extension. This is what allows me to link VS Code with my Pico. So I'm going to just highlight this code block. This just blinks an LED. I'm going to use this later. But to set up this extension, what we need to do is create a folder and then run the Micro Pico initialize command in the folder, and that's what's going to bridge the VS Code to the Pico. So let's add a folder to the workspace. I'm going to call it RP3. So let's add that. And then in this folder, I'm going to now go up to the top here and click Show and Run Commands, and then Initialize MicroPico Project. Now you should see at the bottom left here, it says Pico Connected. We're now connected directly to the Pico in the IDE here. So I'm going to go back to my folder here, and I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it main.py. So in MicroPython, main.py is the file that will run each time the Pico is started. So if you were to plug the Pico into a wall outlet or anything other than a computer, the file that's named main.py, that's what's ultimately going to run. I'm going to paste the code block that I took from the README file here. This just blinks the LED. And now what you can do is right-click on the file, and there's a number of ways you can run the file on the Pico. So I can say run current file on Pico, and you could see in my terminal it says LED starts flashing. Go back to the camera here, you could see indeed an LED is flashing. A little hard to see with the light here. LED is flashing. I'm going to stop that. And what I want to do actually is show you another feature here, upload project to Pico. So this comes in handy if you have a lot of subdirectories, you're importing a lot of libraries. Instead of going through each file one by one, you can just upload the whole folder to the Pico. Now, go back here. So I stopped the program, so the LED, it's no longer blinking right here. So it's not blinking. Now I have another cable. This is directly into a wall outlet here, this cable. So I'm going to take the Pico from the computer cable and now bring it over to the wall outlet cable, and we see that it's starting to blink right away because of that main.py file. So I hope this helps you get started with some of your DIY projects. I had a lot of fun learning about the Picos, and the minute I found out that I could use VS Code instead of other options like Thorny, it made things much, much easier. Thank you.